300 years in a convent, and 50 years in Hollywood. That's how the Philippines is often described. And if that sounds like a contradiction, it's because it is. Forget the brochures that sell you a simple, sun-drenched paradise. The real Philippines isn't a place you just visit. It's a puzzle you have to piece together. It's a nation forged in colonial fire, baptized with Catholic faith, and then dressed up in American pop culture. The story here isn't about flawless beaches. It's about the beautiful, chaotic, and sometimes heartbreaking struggle to build an identity on fractured ground. This journey isn't about finding paradise. It's about understanding why it's so much more complicated and infinitely more interesting than that. So, let's go beyond the surface and decode the soul of these 7,000 islands. For an outsider, stepping into the Philippines can feel like discovering a life hack. You hear about a cozy one-bedroom apartment in a major city like Cebu or Davao for under 400 a month, a flavorful, filling meal at a local carinderia for just a couple of bucks, and a ride on an iconic jeepney for less than $1. The numbers are undeniably seductive. A comfortable lifestyle can be managed on $1,500 a month, while a frugal existence is possible on as little as $800. It's an undeniable draw for a growing wave of digital nomads, retirees, and adventurers looking to stretch their dollar. While immersed in a vibrant tropical setting, this allure is amplified by a natural canvas that seems almost unfairly beautiful. The limestone karsts of El Nido in Palawan rise from turquoise waters like ancient cathedrals. The surf breaks in Siargao are a pilgrimage site for surfers worldwide. The perfect cone of Mayon volcano in Albay is so geometrically flawless it seems to defy nature. This is the Philippines you were promised, the one meticulously curated for Instagram feeds, filled with images of impossible blues, pristine white sands, and cascading waterfalls hidden in lush jungles. It's a compelling fantasy, and for a tourist on a 2-week vacation, it's easy and tempting to live entirely within its gilded frame. But this fantasy has a cost, and it's rarely paid by the visitor. Look just beyond the gates of the pristine resorts and the guarded lobbies of the affordable condo towers, and you'll find a starkly different, more complex reality. This low cost of living for foreigners is not a feature of a balanced economy. It's a direct reflection of a national economy, where millions live on the margins. The most recent official data from the Philippine Statistics Authority reveals a poverty incidence of around 22.4%, translating to over 25 million Filipinos living below the poverty line, a daily battle for basic necessities like food, housing, and education. This immense economic pressure fuels one of the country's most significant and heartbreaking social phenomena, the Great Diaspora of Overseas Filipino Workers, or OFWs. As of recent estimates, over 2.3 million Filipinos are officially working abroad, but this number doesn't capture the millions more who are undocumented. They are the scaffolding of the modern world. They are the nurses in London's NHS, the engineers constructing Dubai's futuristic skyline, the domestic helpers raising children in Hong Kong, and the seafarers who crew a massive percentage of the world's commercial shipping fleet. At any given moment, a Filipino is likely somewhere on the ship that brought you your phone, your clothes, or your food. They are celebrated nationally as Bagong Bayani, modern-day heroes, a title that both honors their sacrifice and masks a harsh reality. The billions of dollars they remit back home are not just a bonus, they are a literal lifeline for their families and a critical pillar propping up the national economy, accounting for nearly 10% of the country's GDP. But this heroism comes at a tremendous personal cost. It means a generation of children growing up with Facebook parents they only know through a screen. It means spouses living apart for decades, building separate lives connected only by a monthly wire transfer. It means missing birthdays, graduations, and funerals, all in the name of providing a future for the ones they left behind. So when you enjoy that 3,000 meal or that 15 massage, it's worth remembering the complex, globalized economic reality that makes it possible. The paradise you're experiencing is built upon the resilience and sacrifice of a people who have mastered the art of finding joy in the midst of profound struggle. How do they do it? How does a society facing such systemic challenges remain, by all accounts, one of the most warm, resilient, and outwardly joyful on earth? The answer isn't in any government program or economic policy. It's in a powerful, unwritten social contract, a set of cultural codes that bind the society together with an almost gravitational force. The first and most powerful of these codes is Bayanihan. Westerners might see it translated as community spirit, but that barely scratches the surface of its meaning. The iconic, historical image of Bayanihan is a whole village gathering to literally lift a neighbor's nipa hut on their shoulders to move it to a new location. Today, you won't see many houses being carried through the fields, but the spirit is fiercely alive. It's the way neighbors instantly organize to cook vast pots of rice and soup for a family who has lost a loved one, ensuring no one has to worry about meals for days. It's the way strangers band together after a typhoon has ravaged a town, clearing debris, sharing scarce resources, and offering shelter without a second thought. Bayanihan is the instinctual, collective response that says, "Your problem is our problem." It is the ultimate social safety net in a country where official support can be slow, bureaucratic, or simply insufficient. Woven intricately into this fabric is the complex concept of utang na loob, or the debt of the soul. This is not a simple IOU, or a transactional debt that can be repaid and forgotten. It's a deep, profound, and often lifelong sense of gratitude and obligation to someone who has done you a significant, life-altering favor. If a family friend helps you find a job, or a neighbor lends you money in a medical crisis, you are bound to them by utang na loob. This debt may never be repaid in a conventional sense, but it creates a powerful, invisible web of reciprocal relationships that forms the very bedrock of Filipino society. It explains the immense importance of personal connections and networking. In the Philippines, who you know is often far more important than what you know, because these relationships are governed not by contracts, but by this powerful, unspoken currency of obligation and gratitude. You see this social contract reflected in everyday gestures that a casual visitor might miss. Watch how a Filipino, regardless of their age, greets an elder. They will take the elder's hand and gently press the back of it to their forehead. This is called mano po, a beautiful and humble gesture of respect that acknowledges the wisdom, experience, and status of the older generation. It's a small act, but it speaks volumes about a culture that, despite all its modern and Western influences, still holds deep reverence for family, hierarchy, and tradition. These codes, Bayanihan, utang na loob, mano po, are the cultural software running in the background of Filipino society. They are the source of its incredible social cohesion, and the reason a genuine smile is never far away, even when the circumstances are grim. The Philippines is a nation that didn't exist until it was created by outsiders. Before the 16th century, the archipelago was a vibrant, decentralized patchwork of competing coastal kingdoms, inland tribes, and Islamic sultanates with strong trade and cultural ties to Malaysia, Indonesia, and China. It was a crossroads of Asian maritime trade. Then, in 1521, the Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan, sailing for the Spanish crown, landed on these shores, and everything changed. For the next 333 years, the Philippines was a colony of Spain. The Spanish didn't just want spices and gold, they wanted souls. Their most enduring and visible legacy is the Catholic Church. Today, the Philippines stands as the only predominantly Christian nation in Asia, with over 80% of its population identifying as Roman Catholic. The Spanish brilliantly used faith as a tool of colonization and social control. They established the Plaza Complex. In every town they conquered a magnificent earthquake. Baroque church at the center, flanked by the municipal hall and the homes of the elite. This layout was a literal map of power, God, and government, hand in hand, at the heart of the community. They gave the people Spanish surnames, from De la Cruz and Garcia to Santos and Reyes, effectively baptizing them into a new identity. They infused the culture with a flair for dramatic fiestas, a deep-seated fatalism often expressed in the phrase Bahala na, leave it to God, and a reverence for family that bordered on sacred. It was, as the saying goes, 300 years in a convent, shaping a society with a deep sense of faith, community, and tradition. Then, in 1898, as Filipinos were on the verge of winning their revolution against a weakening Spain, a new ghost arrived. After the Spanish-American War, in the Treaty of Paris, Spain sold the Philippines to the United States for a sum of $20 million. The Filipinos, who had just declared their independence, were not consulted. What followed was the brutal, bloody, and now largely forgotten Philippine-American War, a conflict that cost hundreds of thousands of Filipino lives and solidified American control. But the Americans, unlike the Spanish, came with a different, more insidious colonial toolkit: mass education and consumerism. They established a widespread public school system, with English as the mandatory medium of instruction, effectively creating a new generation of English-speaking Filipinos. They introduced the ideals of democracy, a civil service, and free enterprise. And most powerfully, they brought Hollywood. American movies, music, fashion, basketball, fast food, and the glittering, individualistic dream of a modern, consumer-driven life. This was the 50 years in Hollywood, a period that rewired the Filipino psyche with a profound affinity for American pop culture and an aspiration for the American dream. This dual, contradictory legacy is the essential key to unlocking the Filipino puzzle. It's a country where people have Spanish surnames, speak English with a distinct American accent, and hold fundamentally Asian family values. It's why you'll see a community praying the rosary with fervent, solemn devotion one night, and then passionately, joyfully singing Frank Sinatra and Whitney Houston at a karaoke bar the next. This constant, daily negotiation between the spiritual, communal past of the convent and the individualistic, commercialized present of Hollywood is the central drama of Filipino life. It's not a confused identity, it's a layered, syncretic one, a living, breathing testament to its tumultuous, colonized history. Nowhere is this layered, syncretic identity more delicious than on the dinner plate. Filipino food is the ultimate culinary fusion, a rich, complex story of the country's history told through bold and uncompromising flavors. It's a cuisine that has long been misunderstood, but is finally getting the global recognition it deserves. Take the undisputed national dish, adobo. The core technique, stewing meat in vinegar and salt or soy sauce, is an indigenous, pre-colonial method of preservation essential in a tropical climate, but the name itself, adobo, comes from the Spanish word adobar, meaning to marinate. It's a native dish wearing a Spanish coat, a perfect metaphor for the culture itself. Every family has its own recipe, a source of fierce pride and debate. Then there's lechon, the spectacular whole, roasted pig that is the glorious centerpiece of every major celebration, from weddings to town fiestas. It's perfectly crispy, glistening, golden, brown skin and succulent, smoky meat speak of Spanish-style feasts and grand celebrations. But travel to the central islands of Visayas, and you'll discover quinoa, a dish that predates the Spanish entirely. It's raw, cubed fish cured in the sharp acidity of local vinegar and citrus, spiced with ginger, onions, and fiery siling labuyo chili. It's the Pacific's bright, fresh answer to Peruvian ceviche, and a direct, unadulterated taste of the Philippines' pre-colonial maritime soul. For ultimate comfort, there's sinigang, a tamarind-based sour soup that is unapologetically, profoundly Southeast Asian. Its unique, sharp, tangy flavor, often paired with pork, shrimp, or fish and a medley of fresh vegetables, is the ultimate comfort food on a rainy day or a cure for a hangover. And for the truly adventurous, there is the infamous balut, a fertilized duck embryo, boiled and eaten in the shell. It's a street food delicacy that challenges the Western palate, but stands as a testament to the Filipino principle of resourcefulness and using every part of an animal. But perhaps the most perfect metaphor for the culture is the beloved dessert halo, which literally means mix, mix, mix. It's a chaotic, wonderful, seemingly random concoction of shaved ice, evaporated milk, sweet beans, jellies, coconut strips, jackfruit, lech flans, a Spanish-style crème caramel, and a scoop of vibrant ube sebas purple yem ice cream, all piled into a tall glass. It makes no logical sense on paper, but when you mix it all together, it's a stunning symphony of temperatures, textures, and flavors. Like the culture itself, it's a vibrant mix of disparate, contradictory elements that somehow, against all odds, create something uniquely, wonderfully Filipino. This love for mixing it up, for shared experience, finds its ultimate social expression in karaoke. It's not just a hobby, it's a national sport, a form of collective therapy. In the Philippines, singing isn't about being perfect, it's about participating. It's about grabbing that microphone, closing your eyes, and pouring your heart out, whether you're a professional-level crooner or completely tone-deaf. It is pure, unadulterated, communal joy. The sound of a people who, through centuries of hardship, have learned to make their own happiness, one power ballad at a time. This complex history has also shaped the most intimate aspects of life, love, beauty, and the unbreakable bonds of family. The Philippines is obsessed with beauty pageants. A Miss Universe victory is celebrated with the same fervor as a World Cup win, often prompting national holidays and massive parades. But this obsession reveals a deeper, more complicated, and often painful story about beauty standards and national identity. You'll constantly hear the terms mestiza and morena. Mestiza refers to women of mixed Filipino and foreign heritage, typically Spanish or American, characterized by lighter skin, higher nose bridges, and more stereotypically Caucasian features. Morena describes the native, sun-kissed, beautiful brown-skinned majority. For centuries, colonial mentality, a direct legacy of Spanish and American rule, meant that the mestiza look was held up as the unattainable ideal. This legacy is still starkly visible in the multi-million-dollar skin whitening industry, with products dominating pharmacy shelves and celebrity endorsements. However, there's a growing and powerful Magandang Morena, It's a beautiful marina movement, a cultural pushback celebrating pride in indigenous skin tones, representing a slow but steady decolonization of the nation's beauty standards. Beyond aesthetics, Filipino women are the undisputed pillars of the society. While the culture can appear patriarchal on the surface, it's often the women who are the ilaw ng tahanan, the light of the home. They are typically the family treasurers, managing the household budget with incredible resourcefulness and skill. They are also increasingly powerful forces in business and politics, with the country having elected 2 female presidents. This inherent strength is needed because relationships and family are regarded with an almost sacred seriousness. In the Philippines, you don't just date a person, you court an entire family. Gaining the approval of the parents, the ubiquitous aunts, titas, uncles, titas, and dozens of cousins is a crucial, non-negotiable part of the process. This is because marriage is seen as a permanent, unbreakable union. The Philippines is one of only 2 jurisdictions in the world, alongside Vatican City, where divorce is illegal for all its citizens. An annulment is technically possible, but it is a prohibitively expensive, agonizingly lengthy, and often humiliating legal process accessible only to the very wealthy and well-connected. For everyone else, when you say, "Till death do us part," you mean it, legally and culturally. This legal reality makes the commitment to family absolute. The extended family unit is not just the core of society, it is the society. It is the primary source of financial support, emotional comfort, identity, and survival. A formidable fortress in a world of constant uncertainty. So, how does one navigate this complex, beautiful, contradictory nation? First, with a deep well of patience and an open mind. And second, with some practical, on-the-ground knowledge. While the Philippines is an overwhelmingly safe and welcoming country, especially in the provinces where hospitality is legendary, major cities like Manila have their share of urban challenges. Be aware of common street-level scams. Keep a close watch on your belongings in crowded places like markets and public transport. And use reputable ride-sharing apps, especially at night. It's also vital to be an informed traveler. Some remote areas, particularly in the far western parts of Mindanao and the Sulu archipelago, have long-standing security issues and are subject to travel advisories from most foreign governments. Always do your research before heading to less traveled regions. Getting around is an adventure in itself, a masterclass in organized chaos. The undisputed kings of the road are the jeepneys. These are decommissioned U.S. military jeeps left behind after World War II, brilliantly and flamboyantly transformed into rolling works of art. Adorned with chrome, vibrant colors, airbrushed murals, and religious iconography, they are the backbone of public transport. They operate on loose, designated routes where you just hop on and pass your fare down a line of passengers to the driver, yelling, "Para," when you want to get off. For shorter distances within towns and cities, you'll rely on tricycles. Motorcycles with a sidecar welded on, often packed with an impossible number of people and goods. And in the steep, rural mountains, you'll find the habal, a motorcycle taxi where the driver possesses a near superhuman sense of balance, capable of carrying you, your oversized backpack, and maybe a live chicken or 2 up a steep, unpaved road. It's a system that looks like pure chaos to an outsider, but it's a form of beautiful, organized chaos that works. It's a daily lesson in patience, flexibility, and putting your faith in the skill of your driver. From the 2,000-year-old Banao rice terraces, a UNESCO World Heritage Site carved into the mountains by the Ifugao people with their bare hands, to the world-class diving in Cebu, where you can swim with millions of sardines moving as one mesmerizing entity in Moalboal. The Philippines offers an endless well of adventures. But the real journey isn't just about the destinations. It's about understanding the complex human forces that shape them. The Philippines is not a simple destination to be checked off a list. It is a living, breathing, and often loud lesson in resilience. It shows you that a nation's identity can be a messy, beautiful, and ongoing negotiation between its painful history and its fiercely hopeful future. It's a place where faith, family, and a shared meal can build a fortress against any hardship. It's a country that doesn't just welcome you. If you let it, it will fundamentally change the way you see the world. It reminds us that the most profound travel experiences aren't found in a flawless, sanitized paradise, but in the heart of a perfectly imperfect, vibrant humanity. What part of this complex Filipino story surprised you the most? Share your thoughts or your own experiences in the comments below. If this journey opened a new perspective for you, please share this video with a fellow traveler who loves to go deeper than the destination. And for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating and misunderstood places, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for exploring with us. See you on the next journey.